from the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Hey folks, good morning. Happy Tuesday, January 5th, 2021. Live here, James Azar. I hope you guys are having a wonderful morning. Today, we're on for our Practitioner Brief, our brand new format. So for those listening on your favorite podcast listening platform, you can tune in every single day at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. So you guys can tune in right now, say hello. I can see your comments. You can ask questions. You can get into the conversation, folks, which is really important as well. Today's show is sponsored by our friends over at Know Before and Wistic. So support our supporters as well, folks. So let's get right into what's going on. But before we do that, my new tradition, my cup of coffee to get started this morning. I'm drinking a Pete's Coffee Espresso, which are unbelievable, probably better than many other espressos. This will help me get through the episode. Obviously, my voice is a little under the weather today. I was doing a little bit of screaming last night, so I actually did a lot of talking yesterday. So now let's get right into some of our stories today. First and foremost, let's start with the ransomware attacks that have been linked to the Chinese cyber spies. This according to our friends over at Security Week. So China-linked cyber espionage group APT27, we're going to come back to this story, folks, so stay tuned, is believed to have orchestrated some recent ransomware attacks, including one where a legitimate Windows tool was used to encrypt the victim's files. So this is going to be interesting. I spoke about something yesterday that had me thinking. I saw the story this morning and I was like, let's add some pieces together here and see if we can bring together a really interesting kind of point to this. So APT27, who's been around since for now a solid decade, a little bit longer, typically targets gambling and betting operations in Southeast Asia. Their role essentially within the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party's cyber agenda, is really the financial aspect of this. But the tools that they use, the Windows encryption, is going to come back here in just a minute. So you want to stick through and listen till the very end on this. There doesn't appear to be a singular ransomware incident attributed to the Chinese hacking group. But the Polar ransomware has been used. We've reported on it before. It's something really significant, and we're going to come back to this story here in just a second, because here's a story by SC Magazine talking about SolarWinds hack poses a real risk to cloud services, API keys, and IAM identities. And when we go down, the SolarWinds Orion essentially chain hack does endanger Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure API keys and their corresponding accounts. This, according to a security blog by identity and access security firm named Ermatic. Here's where this all kind of comes together. Okay. Okay, I've got a line here. All right. So if SolarWinds attackers presumed to be Russian intelligence, presumed by who? Every briefing says one of the tools being used was Russian. There's several other tools that have been used in the SolarWinds attacks. Attribution cannot be defined at the moment. Can we just take that away? Because I want to go back to the story I just talked about, where Chinese ransomware they were using Windows encryption to encrypt the victim. Now, you'd get that if you got a peek, let's say, on a story we spoke about yesterday, which might be Microsoft source code. You might be able to build stuff where you essentially turn the system that's using to protect you to actually weaponize against you. So kind of very interesting aspect here, which is they can subsequently gain access to the related cloud-based services, according to Noam Daham, who's a senior security researcher at Aromatic. Moreover, Orion system software that's deployed in AWS or Azure environments may use root API keys that would give attackers comprehensive administrative privileges for any compromised accounts. So let's take this. Let's go down. I mean, one of the things I did with my team after SolarWinds, and if you're first time listening, one of our networks does use SolarWinds Orion. We did a war game. We went into teams. We started thinking, okay, if you could get in and you had unlimited movement, how would you go about it? And we kind of did that exercise. And that exercise is really cool, really helped us a ton in kind of understanding the actions we needed to take. This story does just that, only on the cloud services side, which is critical. All these organizations that are moving to the cloud because of COVID-19, that moved really, really quick. I don't want to say, I'm not going to use any buzzwords, but they moved very fast. Security may have taken a backseat. I don't want to say it's taken a backseat in all cases, but in some cases it has. And now with SolarWinds Orion and with these backdoors, you're creating almost a snowball effect where this is just going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger simply because of the wide implications of this. By the way, there's also, if you see on here on the side, SolarWinds and top executives have been hit with a class action lawsuit over this. This seems a bit premature since we don't know everything, but you can't blame the ambulance chasers for chasing the ambulance at this point. Lawyers were going to step into this as well. So what's really interesting about this from our end is refreshing your API keys on your cloud security. So if you're impacted, even if you're downstream from an organization that uses SolarWinds Orion and they're using your API, or they could have access, or you're plugged into their API, refreshing your API keys should be one of your priorities right now. It should be going in and really updating all your identity access management, maybe creating new users and new passwords and eliminating the old ones, copying profiles over so that way the email can't be used, the phishing can't be done. Again, guys, like little things that we can do within our organization to change things around within the security team, which creates a less impact on the business, is very, very effective and can help reduce some of the tensions that get created in business while they're trying to run a business and we're trying to keep security as well. Here's our final story of the morning. The Citrix, so last week I reported on this, the Citrix NetScaler ADC, which was essentially being used for DDoS attacks. Now there's apparently a setting in ADC to allow you not to be a victim for this. So if you're using Citrix, and a year ago this month, the big Citrix thing, the big Citrix vulnerability, similar to SolarWinds, not in, I think in scale, it had more victims, but in severity, it wasn't as severe. Citrix still, I see their name more times than I'd like. So DTLS is a UDP-based version of the TLS protocol utilized to secure and to prevent eavesdropping and tampering in the delay. The fix is now available. You can see this. All the links to all these stories are available on our website at cyberhubpodcast.com, so you can get them there. And you can obviously see here that there's some temporary mitigation as well that you can follow. Disable the DTLS on affected Citrix devices. You'll have to issue the following command: set VPN vserver DTLS to off, and that'll solve that as well. So just make sure you get rid of that. The fix is available. Citrix downloads. This is on Bleeping Computer. They've got all the links there as well. All right, guys, that's it. 10 minutes. My espresso's getting cold. I want to get back and drink it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back with more tomorrow. And I just published our live schedule, so I'll be on tonight with my good friend JJ for the other side of cyber. Tune in for a little preview episode this week. We're going to be talking a little bit about what the show is. That'll be live here at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow, we'll be back here at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can comment and share this video. We're doing them early because you guys asked for it. I got a lot of feedback saying, James, 11 a.m., that's really delayed. That's, midway through my day. And so we're doing them at 9 so people on the West Coast can get this right when they wake up, and people in Europe can see this before they go home for the day. Thank you so much for listening. Again, InfoSec hires. If you know someone who's looking for a job or someone who is available and looking, have them upload into LinkedIn, not their CV, but have them just tag their post with InfoSec hires. Every day we're sharing this. Myself, Naomi Buckwalter, Renee Small. They're also hacking resumes at 11 a.m. So you can go check that out as well. That's it for me here today, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for tuning in. Most importantly, stay healthy, guys. Relax your voices. I'll be doing that with mine as well. Until then, folks, thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for tuning in, and stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.